everyone, I'm Hugo.
I'm Jake.
Welcome back to Hugo and Jake. Today we're going to be diving back in, and you know...
Can we dip a toe, or do we have to dive?
We have to dive, because we had a nice little break, but now it's time to get back into our good old friend, Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro. His wife's a doctor, did you know that?
Wow, I've never heard that
He
before.
never talks about it. So,
That's fascinating.
Yeah, little tidbit for you guys.
So today we're going to be continuing our reading of... Oh god, what's this called? How to Debate Leftists and Destroy Them. 11 Rules for Winning the Argument.
It's not going well, so far.
Turns out if you do one more rule above 11, you get into hard drugs accidentally.
Yikes.
People were mad at me for pointing that out and making fun of Jordan Peterson the other day.
You know what? I feel for anyone that battles addiction. I feel for anyone that's got, like, you know, mental health issues, and they should be addressed, and I hope Jordan Peterson the best. Also, Jordan Peterson's a big, disgusting fucking hypocrite. He went out hard against every single person in his book and in speeches that did any sort of hard drug and got addicted to them. He's a hypocrite, and I'm glad that he's experiencing this. I hope it humbles him. I hope he comes out of it okay, but I'm still glad he's experiencing this. You know what I mean? Like there needs to be some sort of, like, experience that he has that takes him off his fucking top lobster pedestal where he thinks he's at and brings him back down to his Kermit Toadstool where he actually lives.
I guess the cider incident wasn't enough. Anyway, we're continuing with when to debate a leftist.
Every day. All day.
I guess.
Every day, all day. If Twitter has taught me anything, that's when they do it. Is all the time.
Especially if they're a little girl speaking at the UN.
Jesus Christ.
Before getting to know how to debate a leftist, the first question to ask is why debate a leftist in the first place? Not every fight is worth having. You have to pick your fights. There are only so many hours in a day, and if you spend them battling with your hippie ex-roommate from Cal State Northbridge on Facebook, you'll regret those hours on your deathbed. Interesting career choice by you, then, Ben, for you to say this. That's not necessarily hypocritical. I recognize that he's saying that for the layperson, that, like, this isn't something you want to do all the time, and I actually agree. Getting super invested in arguing all the time can burn you the fuck out. Absolutely. Believe me, I know. So, it at least makes sense. I don't disagree with Ben here.
Yeah, no, not really. As far as the picking your battles thing, I'm sure the battles he picks are not going to be great, but I guess we'll see.
There are truly only 3 situations in which debating someone on the left is worthwhile. First, you must. Your grade depends on it. Or your waiter threatens to spit in your food unless you tell him why same-sex marriage is a detriment to Western civilization.
Okay, so under immediate physical threat. You know when leftists immediately physical threat you and they put a gun in Minecraft to your loved one's head and they're like, "Debate me, puss." That happens.
That happens all the time to me.
Honestly, whenever I see someone with a MAGA hat walk down the street, I just look out my window and go, "Ooh, if I was wearing pants, I swear to God, I'd make this motherfucker debate me right now in the street."
That's why I've started carrying a gun into Applebee's, so I'm not the only one in the Applebee's without a gun.
You could just not go to Applebee's. That's a choice.
I don't want to microwave my own food. I want Applebee's to microwave my food. Second, you found an honest leftist actually willing to be convinced by solid argumentation. Congratulations! You found him. He actually wants to sit down and have an evidence-based conversation with you. You want to have an evidence-based conversation with him. Everything is just hunky-dory. Okay. Then you ride off in your separate unicorns.
So he's saying not only does this not exist, but the odds of a right-winger doing it are exactly the same as a left-winger doing it, because they both rode off on unicorns. It doesn't seem to me... It seems cognitively dissonant for him to be like, the leftist won't do it. And then the little part of his lizard brain was like, and I guess the righty rides away on his unicorn as well.
I think it's incredibly strange that he brings this up in this fashion, and of course we're going to have differences because he's a right-leaning person, a quite right-leaning person, and I'm a quite left-leaning person. Sure. In my experience, however, People on the right don't really prefer evidence. They do feelings-based arguments. I talked about this in earlier episodes, but effectively what Ben does is in debates, he'll say some feeling that he has on a topic, and then if pushed to provide evidence, he'll be like, and many people on the right do this as well, say, well, that's just common sense. Well, no, that's what you feel is common sense, but you need data actually to back that up. If we're talking about data-based arguments, do you want to bring up climate change, Ben? Because you don't seem to really care about that, even though that's one of the most heavily, has one of the heaviest consensuses, like, in all of modern science.
Evolution's a good example.
Yeah. So, I don't know why you'd choose to die on this hill, Ben, when it's evident, based on actual positions that you hold, that evidence doesn't matter to you.
A really great example of a right-wing idea that isn't based on fact at all, and is based on feelings 100%, are the two opinions that cops are good guys with guns, and they should be respected, and soldiers as well. Veterans of war, basically police officers and veterans of war with guns. These are good guys. Also, I need to own guns in case of a tyrannical government. Yeah. These run in direct opposition to one another, because who's the tyrannical government sending after you when carrying out their tyranny? Well, this looks like it's not the Black Panthers. It's the white police officers. And it's also it'd be the soldiers, right? So you'd be like your National Guard. It'd be your good guys with guns. So are they good guys that deserve your hero worship, that aren't harming, like, and you think that like a black person getting shot by them is a good thing? Like, not necessarily that they died, but that it was a lawful thing that happened.
Justified.
It's justified killing. It's always a good thing. Or do you need them for your protection against those people? You really can't have both opinions. They literally will run in opposition, and its opinion. Those two opinions are almost ubiquitous among the right. Almost every righty you know has both opinions. It's nuts. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you just can't have these opinions. So, yeah, Ben exists in feelings land, not facts land. And I don't think either of us are surprised, and neither should you be.
Third, you should debate a leftist if there is an audience. The goal of the debate will not be to win over the leftist, or to convince him or her, or be friends with him or her. That person already disagrees with you, and they're not going to be convinced by the words of wisdom and your sparkling rhetorical flourishes. The goal will be to destroy the leftists in as public way as is humanly possible. Here is how you go about doing just that.
Okay, so I sort of agree with this, but it's contingent. I think it's debating someone publicly is contingent insofar as, like, are you able to convince that person of your position? You definitely are able to convince someone you're arguing with of your position. I've done it many times in person, on stream. You can watch it whenever you want. It happens all the time. And not just with me, with plenty of people. I can't think of one time I've ever convinced a person of an argument if they had a monetary investment in that politic. Right? Like, I'm not gonna say I have an argument with Undoomed, right? Yeah. And I explain to him correct pronoun usage, right? His entire brand is about how pronouns, right? He is monetarily disincentivized to agree with me, because his YouTube career would be kaput if he agreed that, like, you should treat people decent. Like, he has no argument for it. I've talked to him on Twitter several times about it. He literally has nothing. There's nothing there. It's a grift. It's 100% a grift. Similar with someone like The Quartering. If you're like, do you really think all Marvel movies are SJW nonsense? Obviously they're not. But, like, he can't say that. He's monetarily incentivized. And granted, vice versa. If you made, like, the most convincing argument in the world, although I think I have the integrity to agree with you, but maybe I don't. Who knows? We're open atheists on the internet. If you convince me that God exists, it's not in my best interest to say, oh, he does exist. Actually, that's a lie. It would be. I'd make a lot of money if they'd tokenize me immediately. I'd be atheist Candace Owens like that.
Sure. Here's the thing. I think we have changed our positions and opinions on things. We used to, or at least me. You were part of it though too. Used to be pretty big shitlords.
I would say a shitlord. I'd say the jokes got less edgy over time. As you sort of...
Let's say edgelords. We used to be edgy.
Well, we were very young, right? Like, we're talking like almost a decade ago.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, and I would hope you see growth like that.
Yeah.
and that's a good thing, right? Like, yeah, and I think that's part of growth. You find out that like maybe an edgy thing upsets somebody, and then you go, well, okay, why did it upset somebody? Did I punch in the wrong direction? Is the joke not funny because of this, or that? And we have grown like that, and I'm super proud of that. I'm not going to take down any of the old videos. I'm happy to have those up as sort of a, you can kind of see the evolution of not just like us, but like kind of like the zeitgeist of humor over time. And I know a bunch of righties are like, you can't make fun of anything now. No, you can make fun of lots of stuff. We laugh every day. We make fun of shit all the time. It's just that, like, I don't even consciously think about not punching at somebody. It just becomes not funny.
Yeah.
It's just no longer funny. It's not that we can't joke about it. It's just that, like, the attack helicopter joke, the one joke you have, it's no longer funny. It wasn't funny before, but it's no longer funny.
I'm not 17 anymore. I don't find the joke that, haha, that person or thing is different. That's not funny.
And maybe some 17-year-olds do, and that's totally fine. There's content for you on the platform and others. But, you know, as you grow, just as a person, it's not that.
Rule 1. Walk towards the fire. This is a rule I learned from my late mentor, Andrew Breitbart.
You fuck. We knew that. I knew that without you saying that you were connected to Breitbart in some way. Yeah. I'm not surprised.
He was a very clever tactician who understood the fight at a gut level. He got that politics is warfare by other means, and that you have to treat it like war. I understand what you're saying in that politics is all about power, the acquisition and transference of power between various groups and individuals. I agree. But to outright say it's war, at the very least in war, there are war crimes. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like Breitbart in particular
is a war crime.
Incredibly misleading disinformation, a lot of dog whistly racist bullshit.
All that, yeah.
Stuff like that. And in wars, you should at least fight fair, you know what I mean?
Breitbart is 100% propaganda, right? Like, Fox News is the same way. You could argue that a lot of the mainstream...
Not according to Facebook. I think Facebook, didn't they just say, like, yeah, Breitbart, they're reputable?
Yeah, but they're lizards. They don't know. I mean, you can make the argument that from time to time there's propaganda on all sides, and that's 100% true. Propaganda, I mean, like a Colgate commercial is propaganda for Colgate, you know what I mean? So, like, we have to use it in certain contexts, but political propaganda is worse than just, like, normal propaganda, where they just make fanciful claims and they can't really be backed up, like you're going to chew this gum and it's going to feel like this, and it won't. It's going to be gum. You know what I mean? But when you use words like, you know, all Mexicans are fucking criminals and rapists and stuff like that. And even if you don't say it, which is most of the time, but you wink an eye at it, and you give statistics that would say like, ooh, isn't it strange that most black people commit most of the crime? There must be something to this. And you just put it out there like that, that automatically makes someone who's uneducated go, that is weird.
Yeah, begging the question. Yeah. And using statistics in a dishonest fashion.
And you mentioned dog whistles. Tons of dog whistles. Normies are very susceptible to dog whistles because they don't know that it's actually a racist thing, right? So you see a bunch of like normie 50-year-old Facebook dads picking up stuff like Clown World, and they don't know. They don't know, right?
It frustrates me so much because if you spend any amount of time on 4chan, which unfortunately I do sometimes, just because I find it interesting to go into the threads and see, like, because a lot of the memes and stuff originate there, to see where this kind of stuff comes from. And people do kind of talk about, like, hiding your power level.
They don't kind of talk about it. They literally have, like, fucking rule books.
And for those of you who don't know, hiding your power level is someone who is like a white nationalist or like a neo-Nazi, hiding that fact to try and help get people into it slowly. Boiling a frog slowly where the heat comes up.
It's a metaphor for how they ramp up their rhetoric, right? Yeah. So it'll start with something like, ooh, isn't it weird that the black people commit more crimes? And then they're going to turn that into, you know, IQ tests across the world show that black people perform worse. And they're going to ignore the studies that disprove this, but they're going to drop your thing in. If they're really, really far right, they're going to start talking about phrenology, which is like measuring skulls to determine the efficacy of a person's like mental capacity. They're going to be talking about like it's bad. They're going to start talking about anti-race mixing. They're going to start talking about a white ethno state. They're going to start talking about the 13 words. Like, you're gonna get into it. It's gonna be you know, this is hiding your power level. You're not outright saying like I want an ethno state, and I want usually it's black people in this case, but I want non-whites to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not just going to straight up say that. They will at some point, but they're going to basically seed the path. They're going to leave breadcrumbs and make you follow a certain path.
Memes are interesting, too, in how this all plays into it, especially for young people, because I know people laugh at the Pepe being, like, oh, people think Pepe is a hate symbol, but here's the thing. The thing about Nazi dog whistles and racist dog whistles in general is that they're supposed to be things that can be so ridiculous that to an average person saying like, haha, the left thinks Pepe's a Nazi meme, and I'm not saying everyone who uses Pepe is. It isn't. Even we have in the past, years ago, before Trump was even elected, used Pepe in some thumbnails, I think, because the point is to try and acclimate people to this stuff, and that's how you end up with subreddits like Friend World. even recently, there was a subreddit called Epic Air Conditioners, in which it was couching very racist things in air conditioning models, and the entire subreddit was them being like, haha, this model air conditioner, one would stand in for white people, one would stand in for black people, one would stand in for Asians or whatever. It's very strange how they go about doing this, because often it's like obvious.
I think it's obvious to us, but it wouldn't be obvious to someone that's susceptible to it, like a kid. You have a bunch of people that like watch Nick Fuentes and stuff like that, and meme about that. It's like, and he's pretty much tapped into that exact sort of dog whistly thing where
the cookie question.
Yeah, the cookie question's the big one where, ooh, do you think you could bake this many cookies? Doesn't seem like the ovens are big enough to bake
6 million cookies.
It's Holocaust denial. Stuff like that. So, and Ben Shapiro plays right into this shit.
Andrew used to say you have to embrace the fight, walk towards the fire. He would explain that you are going to get hit with the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune no matter which way you turn. You can try to hide from the attacks of the left, you can run away from them, attempt to ignore them, pretend that the left has reached some sort of quasi-consensus in which they live and let live. That will last until the protesters are outside your business.
Okay, so there's this live and let live. Ooh, so much for the tolerant left bullshit. Okay, here's the thing. When you are a right-wing person or you're conservative, if you want to live a certain way, say you want to live a trad life where you want your wife to raise babies and not have a job, I'm fine with that. You live your life however you want. You want to be religious? You think the earth is 6,000 years old? Great. You can believe that. Absolutely fine. You want to own a gun? Fucking go ahead. But it's when you start advocating for these things and admonishing people that don't do those things that the tolerance is gone. Like, we don't have tolerance for intolerance. That's the thing. We don't have tolerance for like, hey, by the way, gay people shouldn't be able to marry the people they love. That's not a thing we ought to tolerate. That is not what anyone means by the tolerant left. Like, I don't even know, did the left even say that we're tolerant? I don't remember claiming that. I just remember saying we're for equality. It doesn't mean tolerance.
It all has to do with the fallacy of tolerance, in which if you allow tolerance of intolerance, intolerant people don't care about tolerance, therefore intolerance will grow to the point that they quell tolerance.
I mean, there's not a lot of people that are for like any sort of equality, like gay rights, race rights, trans rights, any of them, that you're going to see someone be like, you know what, it's okay that you're taking their rights, that's fine. What? No. I mean, you feel the same way about abortion, right? Like, people who are anti-abortion, a lot of them genuinely think we're killing babies. So I understand their outrage, right? They're wrong, and that's we should be having a debate about what's a baby. Not is it okay to kill them, whether you think they're a baby or not, right? Because I think we're going to win that argument, right? But it always gets into this emotional place, which is stupid, but I get it. If you genuinely think we're killing babies, you should be upset, right?
Sure.
Right, that makes sense. What doesn't make sense is, like, we see a bunch of those babies that you say you care about. Once they hit about kindergarten age, they get slaughtered by a guy with a gun, and you don't care. Right? It seems a little cognitively dissonant to say, I care about babies existing until they're 5. Seems a little weird, right?
This will last until the protesters are outside of your business, the government regulators are outside your house, or the administrators are inside your child's classroom. Then you'll realize that while you were willing to live and let live, the left simply wasn't. Ben, I'm pretty sure was Ben against gay marriage?
Yeah.
I assumed so. Ben's against trans rights.
Oh, yeah.
Forget about the disrespect. Facts don't care about your feelings. It turns out that every chromosome, every cell in Caitlyn Jenner's body is male with the exception of some of his sperm cells. And if I call you a moose, are you suddenly a moose? Okay, if I redefine our terms. No, yes, that's right. Men and women are a completely different thing. This is true.
Ben's against a lot of things. Ben, you're the last person who should be talking about live and let live because you're not that. You have a lot of rights as an individual in the United States. You do not have the right to take rights from other people. That's the one right no one ever has.
Right. They like to make the argument that it's religious freedom that you can make these sorts of things happen. Your religious freedom doesn't extend past you. Your religious freedom is a personal thing. There are certain rights that you give away when you get other rights. For instance, being a business owner. You can't say, I'm not going to hire gay people. You can't. You are a business owner. You've given up your right to discriminate. Now, in your house, you can say, personally, in your house, I won't let gay people in there. You're an asshole, but you can. I don't think there's a law that says you can't disallow someone into your house for discriminatory reasons.
On your property, you can tell people to come or go for whatever reason.
Right, exactly. You could say, no blacks allowed. Like, it's not going to go well. There's a social tax to pay for that. And they don't seem to understand that.
There is no detente. Detente does not exist. No matter how nice or polite you are, they will come after you. Mitt Romney learned this the hard way. Oh god, we're going to talk about Mitt Romney again. Mitt Romney is one of the most polite people to ever run for president. I'm going to stop him right here. There's a difference between polite and good. A person could be very polite to you, but discriminate against you. For instance, Ben, let's say someone comes up to you and says, hi, I see you're wearing a yarmulke. I don't allow Jewish people into my home or business. Could you please leave? That person isn't being impolite.
No, but
they're being a fucking asshole. They're being a discriminatory monster.
Yeah, and so there is a huge difference. Granted, I'll take Mitt Romney over Trump if that's what you're selling me.
As Red Riding Hood once said in Into the Woods, nice is different than good.
What a wise lady.
She had to get eaten by a wolf to learn that. Pedo wolf.
Growl.
That didn't stop Mitt Romney from being excoriated as the world's worst human being.
What?
John McCain is best friends with people like Senator Chuck Schumer, and it did not matter one iota when it came time for McCain to run. McCain was called a radical right-winger and was painted as a crazy old kook to the vast majority of the American public. He picked Sarah Palin as a VP. I don't think that's a...
And then let her talk.
Yeah. Not an unwarranted characterization.
Pretty hawkish. Very conservative. The best thing about him was he had some dignity. And that's not a thing we've seen in a while from the right, but he had some dignity where, he'd defend, like, no, Barack Obama's an American citizen. He's a person that's valid. He's running the race. I want to beat him.
He would do the bare minimum.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's polite, but is he good? No, I don't want John McCain. I want Mitt Romney over John McCain.
How about neither of them?
Neither is great, but if, I'm just saying, gun to my head, fuck, marry, kill, I'm marrying Mitt Romney here.
You're gonna have to wear special underwear.
Anything to add a layer between me or him and my genitals is fine.
Sounds good. The left knows this is war, and they know you... yeah. And they know you are the enemy. You will be castigated. You will get punched. That's the way it will go, because that's how the left wins.
You're gonna get punched?
If you're a Nazi, you might get punched, and frankly, you kind of deserve it if you're an actual Nazi, which Ben isn't. He's Jewish. He's definitely not a Nazi. He's just probably a white nationalist.
I mean, so occasionally one of your most extreme members on the right gets punched in the face by a person who got arrested. Which, that's how the law works. It's not preventative. And, do you really feel bad about Richard Spencer getting punched? He hates you, Ben. But beyond that, like, sure, you'll suffer a few punches now and then. The right shoots people and kills them a lot. Dylan Roof. He fucking shot up a black church. What are you talking about? What is wrong with you? Like, what, the KKK, the 1921 race riots in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Like, there's more massacre. Like you have a history. Firing a cane breaks when Georgia got the rights to vote, and there was lynchings of black people to suppress their vote. Like, these are all right-wing things. Right-wingers trying to not Stonewall. Right-wingers not being good with gay people. Right-wingers not being okay with different races. Trans people get murdered at a crazy high rate. Like, what is by right-wing people? What? Sometimes our Nazis get punched though. True. Fuck's sake.
Also, milkshake got in my hair.
Milkshake. Okay, look, this. Come on, man. I'm not even saying punching is good, but if you admonish punching, admonish the other shit. Like, be like, yeah, but the right also does this stuff, and it's also bad, and I don't like it. Like, at least say something that's equal. At least.
That's the way it will go, because that's how the left wins, through intimidation and cruelty. You have to take the punch. You have to brush it off. You have to be willing to take the punch.
So,
be willing to take the punch in Minecraft, right-wing people. That's what Ben Shapiro says.
So when right-wingers try to prevent the legitimacy of your marriage, or they try to take your ability as a person of color or a poor person from being able to participate in our democracy by having voter ID laws, when they don't protect your children by pushing pro-gun advocacy after you have a school shooting, when they don't want to protect your interests long term in regards to the climate and the planet that we all live on and share. You know what? Lefties, fellow lefties, let's just tolerate that. Let's just be like, you know what? It's okay if you kill our poor, our marginalized, our children. That's fine. We don't really need those. I got mine. That's what Ben wants you to do. That's Ben's advice to the left.
Okay, so that's rule 1.
Defeated.
10 more to go.
I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Ben Shapiro is just one of the worst, man. Just one of the worst.
Yeah.
He peddles his fucking propaganda all the time.
He's just pretty hypocritical. That's what gets me.
Oh yeah, he said like if he lives in California, and California has pushed equality bills. Obviously, they're pretty liberal over there. A little lefty. They're going to teach like equality stuff in schools.
Oh, okay.
Including LGBT rights and all that.
Sure.
Ben is against that, obviously, and does not want his children to learn about gay shit or something. I don't know. About how you should treat people decently regardless of the demographics they come from, right? The things they can't change about themselves.
Yeah.
We should not be teaching children that. And he went so far as to say that if you do teach his children that, I only have two options. I got to leave the state. This is his quote. I got to leave the state and take my children elsewhere, or leave the country altogether. Or
please leave the country, Ben.
Or he says, or I pick up a gun.
People are not going to stand for that. They're not going to stand for that. I now have two choices. One is to leave the country utterly. Two is to pick up a gun. Those are the only choices that you have left me.
He did not say that.
He did.
Holy shit. How tone deaf can you fucking be? Christ.
Yeah.
He didn't even say in Minecraft.
He's gonna get demonetized.
So that's this episode. Thanks for stopping by. Next time we'll be doing rule number 2, hit first.
So
probably related to the gun thing.
Punch him. Anyway.
And we might, that one's pretty short, so we might also do rule 3, frame your opponent, which is gonna be...
Well, knowing how much both of us like to talk.
We'll see.
We'll promise you number 2.
Rule number 2 is about half the length of the last one.
Okay.
So.
Fair enough.
And a lot of it's taken up by a Mike Tyson quote, so...
I bought Mike Tyson energy drinks off the internet because I saw them and thought, ha, that's funny.
Any good?
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, okay.
They're kind of like real tart Red Bulls. All right, so you can subscribe to the channel to make sure you get more Mike Tyson facts.
Ring that bell. Does that do anything anymore? Do you have
Notification bell?
Are there 30 more steps you have to go through now?
I have no clue. Try the bell. See, report back. If the bell unsubscribes you, I guess you can't report back. Every time we upload, we lose a subscriber immediately.
Yeah.
That's how it works now. That's how it has been working for a while. You upload, immediately people get unsubbed from you. So ring the bell. I don't know if it's as secure as you. Maybe it does. Put on notifications.
If you want to make sure you get notified outside of YouTube, because I don't trust them,
yeah, YouTube's a shit platform.
You can either follow us on Discord, there'll be a link in the description, or
Discord's a lot of fun. You'd like it. Lots of good folk.
Or you can follow us on Twitter at PapaBirdJake.
You can follow Hugo at Hugo Reloaded, and you can go to the Patreon. Patreon.com/Hugo and Jake. It's in the description, the doobly dude down there, and you can help the show. You can help us afford SSRIs to deal with Ben Shapiro, and you can help Hugo with titty skittles.
Hey, that's confusing for people who haven't been paying attention lately.
Fuck them.
Yeah. P.O. Box, send us stuff. We're gonna be doing our Christmas winter
thing.
one.
It's gonna be fun. So send your Christmas cards. Send nifty gifties if you want to. Doesn't have to be, but we're gonna save up a big old horde of them, and we're gonna do a Christmas unboxing, like we're doing like Christmas morning with all of you guys. Well, it'll be before Christmas, but and we should get onesies. Want to get onesies?
Probably.
We'll eat cookies.
I'll get a big pink one.
I'll also get a pink one. I don't know what I'll get. Maybe I'll just wear the corn suit.
Okay.
Anyway.
That would work. That's on brand for you.
Fair enough. So yeah, do that. That'll be a lot of fun. Is there anything else? I think that's it. Anyway, I think we're done.
Yeah.
We're just hanging out at this point.
All right. See you guys next time. We'll be doing a Bible study next. Stay tuned for that. Until next time, I'm Hugo.
Jake.
This has been Hugo and Jake. I'll pick a new name soon, I promise.
Oh yeah.